So one thing I wanted to cover while I'm doing this water change out is a lot of people have had problems with starting their fish tanks. And if you're like me, you also had a problem starting a fish tank. So it's definitely tricky. There's a nitrogen cycle that's going on in your fish tank. So you have to make sure that there's beneficial bacteria in your fish tank before you add your fish. And that can be quite tricky. So I just wanted to cover some of that real quick while I'm doing this water change out. Is if you have watched some of my previous videos, you know that you don't want to just go out and buy fish in a fish tank at the same time. You want to make sure that you have beneficial bacteria in your water before you add your fish. So like me, what I did was I was all stoked about getting a fish tank, and I thought, well, I just spent, all this money on this fish tank. I think I spent $100 on that fish tank, but anyways, I'm already a couple grand in now. But when I bought it, I was like, hey, I just spent all this money on this fish tank. I want to see some fish in there immediately. So I bought the fish, and they told me, don't do this and wait for it to build up its bacteria nitrogen cycle before you add your fish. But I didn't care. I didn't listen. Same thing with overfeeding them. I thought, oh, they look hungry. I want to feed them. And I've heard so many people say, I wanted to feed my fish right away. And I wanted to feed them more than they say, but people know what they're talking about. When it comes to feeding them, you just feed them a pinch. But anyways, as far as the just adding fish right away, not a good idea. First thing you want to do when you get your fish tank is you want to get some bubblers, and you can get yourself a beneficial plant if you want. You're going to want to get some fish food. They sell bacteria that you can add, but I don't think that's even any good unless you're just planning on putting the fish right in there, because that bacteria doesn't make it very long. But anyway, fill your, get some dechlorinator, some water conditioner. So you add the tap water, you fill it up, you wash it out, you add your dechlorinated water and your bubblers in there, and just leave it sit for a couple of months. Add food to it, do water change outs once a week, get used to your system of changing out the water and adding the fish food. Add a couple of little pinches, twice a day, and let your filter run its cycle. And you're going to use your water filter, whatever water filter you decide to buy. I suggest buying a big one. I suggest buying a 50-gallon tank and a big, cylinder water pump if you really want to do fish. But what happens is that after a couple of months, this filter inside here starts storing up beneficial bacteria. And what it's doing is it's sucking the water through here, through your beneficial bacteria, and putting it back into the fish tank. And so all your beneficial bacteria are sitting in this filter, and there's a sponge in mine. It's got a nice fat sponge that holds up all kinds of bacteria in there. And what that does is that allows the bacteria to break down the ammonium that the fish excrete and turn it into nitrate. And in your first couple of weeks, first month or so, you'll start getting spikes of ammonia, spikes of nitrates, spikes of nitrites. You definitely don't want to have chlorine in the water, so you need to be adding your dechlorinator every time you're doing a water change out. And you get a test kit, or you just get a little bottle from PetSmart and fill it up with some of your fish water, and you bring it down and you have it tested. And once you get your levels to where they're staying the same and you're not getting these giant spikes of nitrates or giant spikes of ammonia, then you can add some fish. So, plan on like 2-3 months at least of just having a tank with water in it, adding fish food to it. You can add ammonia to it. like I said, the bacteria will eat the ammonia, so that'll help feed the bacteria. But I believe that if you just feed it fish food, that will be a good enough source for food for the bacteria to start growing. And that way you start getting a nitrogen cycle in the fish tank before you add your fish. Because if you just go putting in fish, what the problem is that the water ends up with too much ammonium in it and gets ammonia spikes, and that can kill the fish. So what I did was I just added fish. Like I said, I added fish, they died. I took them out. I talked to someone at the pets store, and she said she had a fish tank. So I went and I got one of her, she basically cleaned her tank and gave me her dirty water. And I added her dirty water into my fish tank, which is dangerous because if she had any kind of diseases in there, it would have been given off to my fish. So, but that is one way to get the nitrogen cycle started. She also gave me a little ship that had some beneficial bacteria in it. I put that in there. So yeah, there's different ways of getting it started. You can add ammonia. You can get a sponge or a filter from an existing tank and put it in there with it and allow it to start it up. Or you can just wait a couple of months and feed it fish food and clean it and do water change outs for a couple of months and then add your fish. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs so I can start monetizing my videos. I'm also on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's just Tim Garrow, TIMGARROW. But thanks again for watching. I hope you liked the videos. Pretty soon we'll be getting a second one of these pumps so that I can filter out my plant water and put it back into the fish tank, because these plants are just absorbing the ammonium that the fish are giving off. So it's a great filter is what it is. But the thing is that, I'm just taking potted plants and sticking them in there. And so there's a bunch of soil and stuff in there. I don't want to dump that back into my fish tank. I don't want to leave the roots inside the fish tank because they'll spread all out. I don't even like having the plants inside there because the lights are feeding the lights are helping to create algae in the tank. So I'm still having to do a weekly change out. But I think that eventually I'll end up taking these plants out, turning the lights off, maybe even blacking out some of the sides of the fish tank so that less algae will grow in the water. And but anyways, my plan is to be cycling back and forth into a circle of water so that I don't lose as much water, and so that I'm using the ammonia here to feed the plants here, putting it back in there with less ammonium for the fish. And yeah, all right, so I'm getting a little bit long-winded. I got my dechlorinated water here, so basically what I'm going to do right now is add a second 5-gallon tote of water. So I'm just going to detach this, put it into this bucket. I'm going to close the in valve, open up this valve. That's going to suck the water from there and put it back into the fish tank. And I'm going to keep doing that until it's full. So, I'm going to drain out this 5-gallon tote, fill it up again, put my dechlorinator in there, and continue the process until I get this fish tank full. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching.